What made you lose respect for someone? When they treat someone less because of their job or social status. When they're wrong in a discussion but keep arguing because they think they'll look stupid. To me, admitting you're wrong is a sign of intelligence if you handle it correctly. My grandma is always blaming my father, my sister and me for things that is missing. It even got physical. I was donating to a local church food pantry this past winter. It was snowy and icy for a couple of the times I was donating bags and bags of groceries. The church has a back lot where you can drop this stuff off for the pantry. The pastor is a nice in pew man, but I found it really grating when, as I was struggling to get a box full of canned goods into the door, despite the unshoveled snow and icy pathway, he took the box of canned goods out of my hands and jokingly said, "Ha ha, I guess I should have done some shoveling." I was so annoyed because, yeah, buddy, you should at the very least clear off the paths and driveway for the people who use or donate to the pantry. This church is always a mess, grass never cut, always a mess. A friend moved out and hooked back up with an ex he'd had a messy breakup with. Said ex had a nasty habit of reading into things I said and assuming my intent instead of asking to clarify. This became a regular occurrence, and I told him to back off, and that if he couldn't get through one night without spiking my blood pressure, I'd have to block him. He didn't stop, so I followed through. Friends started harassing me about it, saying they did it because they care. I informed him I don't need or want their care if it means having an anxiety attack every time I spoke to them, and he acted like I had insulted them. Best friend of 10 years, and all my respect went out the window inside of an hour. My sister, mom and sister-in-law were out for the night, and in the taxi on the way back home my mom asks the driver what his name is. "My name is Bill," to which my mom responds with, "Is it though? I doubt your full name is William. What's your full name?" "My full name is Bilal." We were mortified. I made a point of saying so his name is Bill and much more appropriate for it than any William could be. TBF, I've been slowly losing respect for my mom for years. This was just another nail in the coffin. Down low shade/jealousy. My mom, stealing child support are gaslighting us. My best friend racist, homophobic and transphobic comments. My mom's soon-to-be ex-husband once hit her after drinking too much again. He drank more often and normally that only caused verbal fights, but that one time he took it too far. That was the day I started referring to him as my mom's husband rather than my stepfather. I want nothing more to do with him, and will cherish the day the divorce gets finalized and he gets the fuck out of the house so my mom and brother can live peacefully without an alcoholic narcissistic asshole telling them they're worthless on a daily basis. I moved out some time ago to get away from this. Racism/sexism. I was on a Discord server, person 1, M, who I'd known for not too long but we were friends, asked out person 2, F, who I was dating at the time. He didn't know I was. When rejected he was saying it was just a joke and he didn't mean it. It caused a whole thing and he wouldn't shut up about it being a joke and ended up making everyone uncomfortable. It's been a year and a few months and I still don't talk to him. I always start a job with respect for the boss/manager/etc. It's up to them whether the respect remains, grows, or diminishes. It mostly diminishes. If the manager/owner/superior reprimands someone in an unprofessional way or by personally insulting them, it's very clear how they see themselves in the work environment and it's really difficult to see them in a positive light. I'm not talking about a bad mood type reaction. I mean the kind that you know they are just being a dick. A manager/etc. shouldn't raise their voice at you, have a condescending attitude, play favorites, belittle you, expect or even ask you to do things which aren't in your description/scope of work, depending on the job, and then the obvious. Was a very good friend of mine and one of my best. We decided to go see Billy Talent in 2018 and I booked 2 tickets, one for him and the other for me. I booked them in March and the concert was in June. He hyped the SHT out of this concert, so we were both anticipating, and especially me, because it would have been my second concert. Fast forward a couple of months until 2 days before the concert. I messaged him about organizing that special evening, who is driving, where should we eat, before or after the concert, etc. He responded during the evening and he had completely forgotten the concert and was asking questions like what concert? When is this concert? Those messages left me speechless. He was totally oblivious, so I said that we ordered 2 tickets a few months ago and I was so happy to go, but his response baffled me. Oh yeah, I can't come with you, I have things planned with friends from my university. WTF man? And since then, I removed him from every social media platform, and that rat refused to pay me back the ticket I paid for him in advance. He tried to reconcile and claimed that we should meet again, but I don't trust him anymore. Fuck that. So basically, in 6th grade, I went to another school and in that school, I was the new student. Our class wasn't much, 4 girls 11 boys. I have talked to some of the boys in group projects but rarely in general. After a year, I stayed in the same school, and same to 4 of my friends. I had this friend, let's name him John, who didn't talk to me in 6th grade, but started to talk to me in 7th. I started talking to him and having some conversations and all that. It got to the point where we even pranked the teachers. Once he told me that he had a crush for a girl in our class, and her really liked her. But he was sad that he was going to move to another school. I tried to make him whether to get over it or just tell her how he feels. After like a week or 2, pretty much the whole class knew that John liked that girl. And he started blaming me for telling them and ruining his life. I was so shocked because he was the person who wanted me to be friends with him. And he basically threw me under the bus. So yeah. Moral of the story, if you saw a friend for over 5 months and didn't talk to each other, don't tell each other secrets. Too many broken promises and lies to cover their own ass, instead of admitting their faults and issues in conjunction with seeking the correct help. They were more concerned with the outward appearance of how they were being perceived to others within the social group, and continued to spiral further into their darkness. I got one that is in no way as messed up as some of the posts on here. A woman I was friends with when we worked together was set to come over to mine for dinner. I let her in and remembered I needed to get some more wine, so was more than comfortable leaving her to chill in my by her lonesome. I came back and noticed quite a few things had been changed. Turns out she had gone snooping through my flat uninvited. She didn't take anything, but she tried to cover it up. When I asked her about it, she said you do the same in my place, which I sure as chickens wouldn't do. Made me think very differently about her after that. I just want to call my little brother's mom to inform her of how my father sexually assaulted me once when he was drunk. That's my brother, 1 state away, and she should at least know so that she can decide whether or not she wants her son around him. Problem is, don't know her last name or her phone number. Tried white pages but she wasn't in his list of associated people. Only other alternative is my grandma, his mom. Problem is, she's stonewalling me because he's her son. So now I say fuck 'em both. I will get her number somehow and she will know. My sister saying how my mother would be better off separated from my dad during a time where things were a bit rocky. Things worked out and everything, but knowing how much my dad had done for her and before and even to this day does make it something that I'll never truly forgive her for. He was never happy that I started dating the girl he liked, but he respected the relationship and wished us well. He was always protective of her, although he doesn't really have a right to. Last night I checked his text to her where he told her she's fucking pathetic, because she's out past the time he thinks she should be home by. Lies. A now ex-friend of mine that I used to be really close to. I should have seen the red flags when they were first being passive-aggressive and when they were subtly but efficiently manipulating me and some of my other friends, but it all came crumbling down when they called 2 people pedos all because she got kicked from their server. Cue the call-out post from the people she called pedos and me cutting off all contact with her. I know I shouldn't miss her as much as I do, but come on. You can't just say that about people, with no proof, might I add, and expect to get away scot-free. Several co-workers, on the same team, playing the ignorance card in a project that was going into production. They'd been physically in the meetings but they never participated, even after calling them out on it. Friend A and I go on vacation. I paid for it all up front with the verbal agreement that she'd pay me back as she could. After asking for the money several times, she decided that we just weren't going to be friends and blocked me everywhere she could. Friend B, who happens to be friend A's younger sister, is out of a place for her and her son to live. No one in her family, aunts, uncles, cousins and all, is offering her a place to live or any help, so I offer to let her stay in my house until she could find a place of her own. I should have known better. The last straw was her telling me how I should run my house and that I should cage my dogs, after one got into her room and got into the Halloween candy she'd been keeping up there. She blamed my dog even though she didn't close the door to her room. She never asked how my dog was doing after eating the chocolate. She moved out a few weeks later and kept the keys to my house after repeated requests for her to return them. Cousin, F21 at the time, is in from out of state and introduced her to a few of my friends. She and one of the guys end up being attracted to each other. When my aunt and uncle catch on to this, they are siblings and neither are her parents, they start calling both my cousin and I all the nasty names in the book and threatening us with physical violence. Kicker is that my grandparents know nothing between my cousin and dude was happening and that I definitely wasn't involved, but they didn't stop my aunt and uncle from disrespecting us.